everyone. Today I'd like to show you how to make some of your own original backgrounds to put into your app. We're going to make them in high definition because you never know if your app is going to be viewed on a phone or one of the new tablets, and we want those backgrounds to look good regardless. So first thing I want to point out is that if your workspace is in 3D, you may not see this gradient tool. So if you can't find gradients, go ahead and set it back to Essentials, and the gradient tool should be visible there. Let me go ahead and do a File, New, and I'm going to use a 1080p resolution, 1920 by 1080, except instead of being widescreen, I've reversed the numbers so that it's 1080 wide and 1920 high. I'm going to go ahead and call this one Backgrounds and make sure my background is transparent. If it isn't, then you've got to do a couple of extra steps. So if you missed that, then go ahead and throw that lock in the trash. We're going to call this BG1 for the first background. And now I'm going to use the gradient tool. Now this gradient tool works best with some colors. If you just draw a linear gradient on here, you can see that it just overlays the new gradient on top of the old one and wipes it out. We can change what happens when the new gradient is drawn on there by changing the mode. And the most dramatic difference is the difference mode. So if I start drawing random lines on top of this same one, you can see that it interacts with what was there before and gives you, within a few clicks, something totally unique. So this would be a nice black and white one. Let me go ahead and do one with color here. I'm just going to choose something that's got a number of different colors and draw on top of that one. So if you want to start fresh, you can do that simply by changing it to normal, draw your linear gradient, and then switch back to difference. And then you can start drawing some lines until you get something that you like. It's pretty easy to have something there that you like, and then the next thing you know, it's totally different. But here's one. I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer, hide the old one, and maybe pick some different colors. This time I'm also going to use the radial instead of the linear and start drawing some lines. If you are on the screen, you'll see the circle. If you're off the screen, you'll just get the edges of the circles. But again, very quickly have something very unique. And if you then change colors, you'll start getting even more. And then if you change it to diamond, we'll start getting some diamond shapes on there. So the idea here is to just create some random different backgrounds so that we have a number to choose from. So let's make 9 of those real quick. In this case, I want to continue with this one and see if I can do a little more. I'm going to call this one BG2, and then I'm going to duplicate this layer and call it BG3 and hide the one before it. So now I can continue with the diamonds and maybe fill it up with a bunch of diamond shapes, perhaps change the color to something else entirely, start getting some different wild colors in there, get all the different spots, and now I have something very different than I had a minute ago, even though that was my same starting point. Make a new one, BG4. So I say 9 of them because then everything's just 3 characters. Let's try the cone and pick something different, just a 2 color, and you're going to see that it goes back and forth between colorful and then not so colorful. If you don't like what you have there, simply go back to normal, pick something else, try again. There are some others here. If we do exclusion, you'll end up kind of fading it out, so that's not always. There's several other things to try. Again, I prefer just the difference because it gives you very quick effects. So once you have some of these, this would be a beautiful background to have, but if we're going to have text or anything on top of it, this could be a little bit distracting from what we really want people to read. I'm going to show you how to make an adjustment layer here. Go to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, right here, New Adjustment Layer. And I'm going to use the levels to lighten or darken this background. So this one is going to be called the Darkener. And it creates a layer that can be turned on and off. Now we've used levels before to make the blacks blacker and the whites whiter, but instead what we're going to do is drag the output points. So if I drag this white over here, I've made everything a little bit darker, and that can be handy for all sorts of reasons. If I turn that one off and turn this one on, you can see how easy it is to have the before and the after. So you can save a couple of different versions of each of these. Let me show you that one more time. Layer, new adjustment layer, levels. This one I will call the lightener. And again, let me turn off the darkener one there. I'm going to drag this one over this way, and now I have that beautiful abstract art, but dark letters and buttons are going to show up very well on here. And these are just layers that can be turned on and off as needed for whichever background you wish to make an adjustment on. So I would go ahead and make 9 of those and have them ready to go. When you get ready to save them, File, Save As. We got the backgrounds. Now this should be in Documents, MIT App Inventor Assets, and I believe a new folder that says Backgrounds on it would be very, very helpful to have all of those different JPEGs saved in there. So let me save this in a couple different ways. I'm going to do Save As, change it from Photoshop to JPEG, and then this would be BG, oh gosh, I don't remember which one it was, 3 I believe. Now right here, this is very, very large to be putting into an app. So this is why JPEGs are good for these backgrounds. We don't need any transparency, and we can adjust the quality that it's being saved at in order to get the file size down a little bit better. Now if I zoom in to 100% here, you can see just how high resolution this is. You can easily see that the compression is taking place, but it doesn't look that much different. So for having a file that is only 122 kilobytes instead of 1,600, you can save yourself a lot of space there. Let me go ahead and save that one, and no, that was BG2. Let me go ahead and go back to BG1. Let's say I want to save this one, but I want it to be very dark so that I can put some light buttons on there. Again, File, Save As, and this is going to be a JPEG. I'm going to call it BG1 Light, Dark. And now this particular one I can use to, and I can actually afford to bring it up a little bit in quality. We want it around 100 kilobytes, I think is a good spot for a background. So if I go back and I look in my documents now for my MIT App Inventor Assets, you can see I've got some backgrounds all ready to be uploaded into my App Inventor so that I can use those to make my app look very distinctive.